Hey, thanks for coming back. I couldn't thump through this book a little bit more. Almost got it finished. Pretty good book called The History of Radio, and it's amazing what we could do in say 15. Technology, has, of course, advanced quite a bit, but they had technology in those days to turn things on and off by electronic frequencies. That's amazing. Ooh, we got some quite a bit of news here for you tonight, more than I thought we were going to find. I'm not much into you know Mickey Mouse news, but we can start out with the Senate voted to repeal the Iraq War Powers Authorization. That came about, my understanding, during the uh, uh, not Biden, uh, Bush administration during the Iraqi War. And we don't have too much to fear about it. In fact, I'm kind of glad we've done this. I'd like to know what you think about it. But I think right now, the farther that we can keep the Biden and his people away from just starting a war, the better off we are. Now, if it becomes evident that we need to be in there, they start killing off our people, Congress in 2 or 3 days can just declare an act of war or reinstate that privilege. In fact, right during it only took a couple days after Pearl Harbor that Congress almost unanimously give President Roosevelt the power to go to war. And besides that, the president always has the authority to do a limited war. That came after the fiasco during the War of 1812. It took a long time to get Congress in session, so the president can always go to battle for 91 days, temporary, until Congress has a chance to review the situation. And that also includes, as I mentioned earlier, or a couple of days ago, that also includes to defend treaties with, say, France, Israel, Germany. So many treaties. It's wonderful if somebody goes to war, don't we all go to war? Now, Pope Francis has been hospitalized for respiratory infection. That we wish the Holy Father the best. And he's quite old, and to be one of the leaders of so many people, it may be about time for him to retire, but we'll see. Now, we know about the Ohio was already hit with a train derailment. Now, 3 barges broke loose a couple of days ago, and one was up against the dam, and one is sunk. And it has 14 tons of methane gas in one broken loose. And this stuff is dangerous. And now, going back to my opinion, which I always try to say, and that's the way I see it, our transportation system, from the roads, from the railroads, bridges, waterway, airways, needs to be reviewed by Congress, both the House, the Senate, oversight committees, and uh, by the administration. Although the administration, I think, uh, looking at what's wrong with our roads is above their pay grade. And we're having all this stuff is fixable, but you just have to identify the program and go into it. Uh, I'll give you an example. Here, how about this? I wrote a quote uh, trying to be cute that led into my essay. I said, in the absence of beer, I repeat, in the absence of beer, water becomes a necessity. Now, I'm just trying to draw the attention to the fact we have, I think, about 3.5 million miles of pipe infrastructure taking water from dams, reservoirs to city folks, transferring it perhaps from one state to the other. And would you believe out of, let's just say for conversation, 3 million, um, life expectancy of those waterways is 75 years. That means they start breaking down. means they have to be fixed. It means you're supposed to be identifying what needs to be fixed before it breaks down. Well, let's look at this way. Pretending 3 million miles is what we got. 2 million is at the 50-year marker. And we don't need to wait till a disaster happens. There's this little thing called, it's a novel thought, but it's called preventive maintenance. It means you just identify the problems. You look at the longevity of a system and you get to it before it starts breaking down and making life miserable and sometimes cost us lives. Okay, the Manhattan District Attorney investigation has postponed any more meetings with the grand jury for up into April, almost 30 days from now. And he mentioned that the grand jury has been um, empowered for like 3-4 months at a time. Well, that's all well and good, but it don't mean you have to waste your time. Those people would like to get along with their lives. And listen to Bill O'Reilly tonight, and I'm a huge fan of Bill O'Reilly and his No Spin News. I've always liked him because he gets right down to the rub of the situation. But Bill, he thinks that the Trump administration is more worried about the investigations on January the 6th. But fear not, short of an impeachment, he can run for president. And I think we can say if he gets to be president, everything is going to be squashed. And rightfully so, because an awful lot of people have stretched the truth. Some have even brought on people who have perjured themselves. And in many cases, more often than not, they just didn't do their due diligence or they cherry pick statements. So if he's elected, there's going to be a lot of these so-called big mouth, not so-called, are going to be running for cover. Well, speaking of preventive maintenance, House Republicans are set to approve a strong energy package, and it's going to be very radical. Basically, I think they're saying to go undo many of President Biden's executive actions and things like this. Well, now, President Biden, when he went in there, he was like a very old person who was having a tantrum. He just started taking down President Biden's, not President Biden, but President Trump's things that he had accomplished. And I think we can say without doing any due diligence, seeing what was good, what was bad, according to his way, they just did it to spite Trump. Well, yes, Trump, you're right. Trump does deserve better than that. But more important, the American people deserve better than that. And they have an obligation to look out for the American people's interests and fully with the political parties. Now, California's got piled up with more snow. It'd be nice if there's no death or destruction in this thing. When I was out there with the Swift Trucking Company, those lakes up here in Northern California were down so far. In fact, so is Lake Mead up in Arizona. Now, here's something kind of interesting. Russia's trying to avoid a call up of men. We would call it the draft, and offering men cash to join the army. I don't know. I think I can see cash working if there ain't no wars going on, but most people don't want to die for an extra $100 a month. Now, Taiwan's president lands in the U.S. Amidst threats from China. The hell with the threats from China. There's only so far we're going to go. We have to get in a shooting battle. So be it. I hope not. I don't want to see more of our young boys and girls wounded, but they just threaten. And I know they have really no respect for President Biden, but the voters And I repeat, the voters will only take so much. And don't forget, one of our DNA about Americans and our country is when there's a crisis, we come together at a warp speed. But unfortunately, people just trying to destroy our history need to revisit that and let it be known to the world that we might squabble, but when we need to come together, we can, we will, and we always do. I repeat, we always do. And there's nothing that's happened in the last 2 years to convince me that if we're in danger, that the American people will stand shoulder to shoulder, and they will do it right away. Shows that China's economy remains slow as industry profits down 4% in 2023. And that may be to our advantage. I mean, China now is venturing out down in South America and trying to get into Africa. So maybe we can create a little pressure on them someplace where put a few ships around the island, say, where they'll have to pony up some money to convince these people that we're not going to invade them or something. Why should we always wait for them to put the pressure on us? It's well established a good general picks the time and the place for a battle. And we, for the last, since even before World War II, we're not prepared when a battle comes along, and we let the other people decide where it's going to be, and then we have to play catch up. And I'm not talking about a shooting war. I'm just talking about aggravating them a little bit. Now, the Security Exchange Commission has put a halt on one of the cyber money companies. I think it's BEAXY. And they're allegedly, I repeat the word allegedly, $900,000 for personal use, including et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Go on cowboyron.com for this information in detail. I'm trying to keep us down to a chat like you and I are sitting in your front room or out on your porch. Now, Google's international destroyed employees' chats evidence in antitrust litigation in California and must pay sanctions and face possible penalties as trial. U.S. rules that they destroyed evidence. Well, it's becoming part of our culture. I mean, Hillary Clinton, she destroyed a lot of things. We broke them up, poured bleach on them, wherever you do. And we let that go. Hunter Biden, they're still dilly-dallying with his computer. And so the high tech feels like they're the head rooster in the hen house and they can do what they want to. But I think they got a rude awakening coming pretty soon. Now, Senator Manchin threatens to sue U.S. Treasury over the EV tax credit rules. And I don't know quite all what that's all about. Go on cowboyron.com to go into it. I had hopes for the senator to emerge as a centrist, and maybe he would be a good presidential contester for the Democrats, because I've always thought that he doesn't make a lot of sense. He's much more liberal than I did, but he did vote on that bill. That's supposed to help the economy, and it's just breaking our budget. Anything else I wanted to talk about today? My YouTube station, keep coming there. I'm going to probably do, well, I'm not going to tell you what I'm getting ready to do because somebody else will do it first. Still learning with YouTube, learn how to put a little music in front of my intros. They say that makes getting more business. Having a lot of fun.